Thank you, Abraham. I'm so excited to ask you this because I can't help but feel everyone must have this same question, and I can't believe I haven't heard it before.
Oh, there's no time for this.
It's really very simple, I'm sure. My question has to do with, how do I work backwards? I have a fabulous life, and everything is really good, and yet I have these manifestational indications of drastic misalignment. How do I focus or find where I have been chronically, where do I have those negative emotions? How do I find what is resulting in these indicators?
Well, we get what you're talking about. There is a feeling that you need to trace yourself back and figure out where you went wrong. Jerry and Esther were in Orlando a few years ago, and they had a new navigational system, and Esther was listening to it very deliberately, and Jerry said to Esther, you know you're going the wrong way on this freeway. And Esther said, I did exactly what she said. And Jerry said, well, even if that's true, you're going the wrong way. And so Esther took the next exit, and they got turned back around, and they began going the right way. And then Esther said, let's go back to where we were. And let's program the thing again so that I can see where I went wrong. I want to know, did I just not hear correctly? Or is there a flaw in the program? And Jerry said, or we could just keep going where we're going.
Right.
And we want to say the same thing to you. It really is of no advantage to go back and figure out where you went wrong, and you don't need to for this reason. We talked about this just a little bit ago, about how something happens in your past experience, and you keep talking about it or keep remembering it, and so it stays active, and so it's part of your active now attraction. And then you hear us say that if you've got your indicator that's letting you know that you're out of the vortex rather than in it, and you don't notice it, so you don't do anything about it, you don't resolve it, you don't soften the resistance, don't worry, it will get bigger. And in time it will get big enough that you can't miss it. Really.
So that's exactly where I am. And not only does it get bigger, but it's showing up in other ways, very similar.
Oh, good.
And I'm like, what? What am I thinking that is causing this? And so I try the opposite of getting all yippy-skippy thinking about what I do want, but that doesn't seem to be the resolution. An example would be psoriasis. What is the vibration of psoriasis? I can think about beautiful, clear skin till I'm glowing and happy and yippee-skippy, but that does not have any effect on...
Here's the thing. By the time you have a manifestation, whatever you're living is a manifestational indicator of a vibration that you've got going on.
Got it.
And once a manifestation occurs that has your attention like that, it's difficult to get to the bottom of the vibration because the condition has your attention. And that's what you're talking about. You'd like to get sort of the bottom of the vibration.
Exactly.
So a very fast way to do that is, once a manifestation has occurred, ask yourself, in the living of this, what emotions are coming about? How does it feel? How do I feel under these conditions? So what's the answer to that? What does that feel like?
Ugly, toxic, dying, moldy, just awful.
Well,
black, dark, evil, gross. So what is the dark side of me here? I mean, you can expose me in front of 300 of my closest friends.
Well, you got a little carried away with that, don't you think?
Well, no, because it's very real. I've tried going there.
Well, let's take another one and then we'll come back to that. What else? You said there are several things that are showing...
Toenail fungus. My teeth are falling out because my jaw's literally rotting. The bone is rotting away. Things like that. They're all very similar.
So this group of things that keep happening, they're all of a physical nature.
Yes.
And so it's skin and teeth.
Yes.
And so again, we're going to ask you, and just sort of lighten up on this just a little bit and speak more slowly as you go. In other words, focus on the word that you're speaking and stay there just a little bit so that the vibration is evident. So these manifestations feel like...
I guess another way to put it is I feel I'm not taking proper care of this body. That there's something I'm doing.
But you're getting ahead of what we're really asking. We just want to hear from you what the manifestation feels like. In other words, it feels like decline. It feels like peeking out and slipping from it rather than becoming. It feels like having been there rather than becoming.
It just feels ugly and decaying and kind of spoiled.
That's sort of what we were getting at with different words, but the same sentiment. It doesn't feel like I'm becoming. It feels like I'm going. It does.
Yes,
I don't feel like I'm reaching into expansion. I feel like I've expanded as far as I can physically, and now it's just slipping away. And there are a lot of people that hold those beliefs rather firmly in place. It's a big part of the human experience of decline and disintegration and devolving rather than evolving. So, as we're speaking here, we can feel your resistance. It's like you're thinking,
because I feel like I'm getting healthier and stronger. I'm a triathlete. I'm moving forward. I feel like I'm getting stronger and better and all those good things.
But the thing that we think is confusing you is that you think that it's 100% of this conversation is about your physical body. And so you're saying, I'm a triathlete and yet I have fungus, or I'm a triathlete and yet my skin is eroding. And we want you to understand that there are many other vibrational reasons that are at the root of this manifestation that don't have anything to do with your physical prowess. We want to talk about other things in your experience. In other words, so what's going on in terms of your feeling of expansion? Do you feel eager about life? Mm-hmm. Is there anything that is disappointing you? Because the thing that we really want you to get is that this is always true. If you have a manifestation that is as pronounced as these are, they are indicators of a chronic vibration, which is just a pattern of thought that is outside the vortex and is not a vibrational match to who you are and where you're going. We're just going to say up front here, and then we'll help you sort it out. It sort of falls on the heels of what we were talking about in a couple of conversations earlier, that when you are more fixated upon what is than you are about where you're going. All day, every day, life causes you to be an expanded being. And if you are fixated in the past or even in the now and not looking forward into that expansion, then you're holding yourself back from the expansion, and that decay is a good match for that, isn't it? So we just want to get you to acknowledge with us that you cannot be an exception to the laws of the universe.
I agree.
And that if you've got these things going on, then you've got a chronic, and we say chronic because it's manifesting now in lots of different ways. Mm-hmm. So it's a pattern of thought that you're repeating frequently, really frequently, that doesn't match how your inner being is looking at the same subjects. So, what kinds of things are happening in your experience apart from that, where you are feeling motion forward? What's going on? In other words, what's a day like for you?
I mean, I love my work. My relationships are good.
What is your work?
A self-employed telecom consultant.
And talk to us a little bit.
My clients are good. They appreciate my work. I come home yippee-skippy. I'm smiling the whole way home. I feel like I've been a benefit.
Well, let's stop with the yippee-skippy for just a little bit here, because what's really going on, and we like having this dialogue, is that clearly there's something going on vibrationally that you're covering up with yippee-skippy. In other words, if you really felt the way your words are sounding, we wouldn't be having this conversation. So the first thing that we want to convey to you is it's just fine wherever you are. What we can feel from you is that through your life and through what's going on right now, you're reaching in a strong way to something that you're not letting yourself go to. So the first thing that we want you to acknowledge is, do you believe that you have some vibrational discord going on that these physical conditions are indications
of? Absolutely, which is what I'm really trying, like you would go to a doctor and your advice to them is to find the root cause, the emotional root cause, and that's what I'm trying to figure out. And I don't know if I've just become so desensitized to good emotion, bad emotion?
Well, the first thing that happens is, and it happens with a lot of people, and we think it is a byproduct of being a counselor, when you are trying to help people line up their energy and improve, you don't feel like you should stand in a place and say, I haven't yet lined up my energy. So it's almost like you're not willing to admit that there's any discord because you're feeling whippy-skippy. You love your job and you love your world, and yet there is something that is going on. And that's why your opening words to us were very good words. I want to work my way back, but what we want to say to you is you don't have to work your way back. You just have to feel how you feel in the moment and find the negative emotion when it shows up. So I have some sort of pattern of thought that I think often that I've convinced myself is a valuable thought worth having. Otherwise, I'd give it up. But the source within me is not in agreement on that thought. So I wonder what source, or who I really am, knows about something that I would be thinking about on a really regular basis that I am offering resistance about. So what kinds of things do you think about during the day?
Well, I guess I feel very fortunate. I'm with my work, being a consultant, I have pretty much my own schedule. I have customers that want and need me. I get paid well. There's so many positives. My relationship with my husband is fabulous. The rest of my family is good, I have girlfriends.
Well, you convinced us you are a mystery of the universe.
No, I'm not saying they're not there. I'm just not acknowledging them. I don't know where they are, what they are.
So let's start again. This conversation isn't about your skin. It isn't about the disintegration of your physical body at all. It's about the confusion that you feel about not being able to get to the heart of what's causing it. In other words, what you're reaching for is, I want to know that I have guidance, and I want to be sure about my guidance. And I want to not be just grabbing in the dark. I want to be feeling for it. I want it to be so profound and so clear that there's no question in my mind about whether I'm making the right decision at any point in time or another. Do you feel some resonance with that?
I do.
So now that we have identified that, now try to think of something that you already know that matches that. What do you know? What do you know about your own life experience that resonates with your knowledge that you have guidance within you that you can trust? And can you feel how we've come around to this? It took a while, but can you feel how we've come around to this? In other words, this whole conversation hasn't been about, hey, I've got this skin condition that I'd like to get rid of. This whole conversation is about, hey, I don't know what to do. I can't tell which way to go. I don't know what to eat. I don't know what to put on my skin. I don't know where I'm going wrong. I don't know what thoughts I'm thinking. My guidance clearly isn't working. I'm not aware of what I'm doing wrong. And since I'm not aware of it, whatever it is, I keep doing it and I keep doing it and I keep doing it. And I'm a counselor. I'm a counselor that guides people into alignment. It is so frustrating for me to be a counselor that guides people into alignment, and I haven't been able to figure out how to guide myself into alignment. All day, every day, what I want to do with others is help them activate the vibration of who they are in such a powerful way that the light of who they are shines so bright that they know exactly what to do. And that's what I want to do for me too. And that's what this condition has done for me. In other words, it's helped me to realize that there's stuff going on that I'm not feeling, that now I want to feel it more powerfully. Now I am. I want to feel the guidance that is coming forth from within me. We really want this not to defy what we were saying earlier, because there are a handful of rules of the universe that are always consistent. And what we were saying earlier is, if you've got a vibration going on and you don't do anything about adjusting it, it will continue to cause the attraction in the same way. And as the attraction comes on stronger and stronger, usually there is a keener awareness of it. People have been saying to us for a long time, Abraham, I really don't feel my emotions. And we always say, if you focus upon who you are, and then you focus in contradiction to who you are, you will keenly feel that. And yet, there are some people, and it's the reason that we're sort of probing in this way, who have been so convinced that they are supposed to be good, and they so want to be, that they sort of cover over anything that they are really feeling. Jerry, for example, years ago, was reading a book. It was a book written by Catherine Ponder, and she encouraged that You just make a board and you put pictures of things you want on the board. And Jerry was a teacher. He had many students at the time. So he made this board of all kinds of things that he wanted, but he didn't want anybody to see it, because he didn't want anybody that knew him to know that he had unfulfilled desires. In other words, when you're a teacher,
you should be there.
You should be there.